So let me give you a small note regarding the Dropbox. You'll find that the Dropbox, that that record will be uploaded every day on a daily basis. Okay. So if you miss the class, you can just go to the Dropbox folder, access it from there. I won't send a separate mail, or I won't say share separately to anyone. So first of all, you should have access to the Dropbox folder. Already I've sent the invitation to most of you people. If someone has missed it, so you just need to mail me regarding the Dropbox folder. Yeah, make sure that everyone has got access to the Dropbox folder. So every day the records will be uploaded to that folder. Yes, that is how it works. Okay, so is anyone new to the class today? Did anyone join? Ketan, hi. I guess
Yes, I'm new to the class.
okay, fine. So as I said, you would like to just attend once. Okay, just listen to the class, Ketan, then. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine. So anyone else who's new to the class today? Okay, hi, Praneeth. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah. So Ketan and Praneeth, are you friends or different? I'm sorry.
No, we are not friends.
Fine, fine. Sorry. Okay. Uh, Praneeth, your reference? Sorry, I guess I missed you. Your reference, Praneeth?
My reference is Kiran.
Kiran, okay. Kiran, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah,
Kiran P.
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. Kiran, are you familiar with Java? Sorry, not Kiran, Praneeth, I'm sorry.
No, not now.
Okay, fine, Praneeth. Just listen to the class today. I'll talk to you after the class, okay?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So that's all right. Okay, I see all students. Okay, fine. So let's start. So where did we stop in the last class? We were talking about flow control. So that is where we have stopped. So today we'll carry forward our discussion. We saw while and do while loops. Yes, we saw while loop and do while loop. Today we'll see for loop first of all, arrays, and then for each. Okay, for loop, and then we'll discuss about various flow control constructs which you have in Java. Let's try to do that. So just a minute, let this ID load. Okay, so for loop is another looping construct um, which you will find in Java. So in the last class we saw while loop, right? So whatever the things which you can do with for loop, sorry, with while loop, all those things you can do it using for loop also. Yes, whatever you can achieve with while loop, the same things can be achieved through for loop also. Generally, looping constructs, they're used to execute a task repeatedly, finite or infinite number of times. That is the purpose of looping constructs, right? Yeah. So Even for loop is also used to execute a task repeatedly, finite or infinite number of times. Okay, but the structure and syntax is slightly different. Let's see how it looks like. So we'll talk about the syntax first of all. So the syntax of for loop, this is how it looks like. So you'll have declaration part, you'll have condition, you'll have incrementation or decrementation part here. Yes, and then you'll have statements associated to it. You'll have set of statements in the block. Again, this block is not mandatory, but if you have one single statement, then you don't need to use a block. But if you have multiple statements, go for block. Yeah, you should go for block, definitely. But always prefer use a block even if you have single statement. That makes the code readable. Okay. Let me explain this syntax. Before that, just a minute, please. I'm sorry. Hi, Dinesh. I guess you're new to the class today, right? Dinesh, hi. Can you hear me? Okay. Sometimes it is strange. Fine. Let's continue. So, you see, when it comes to this for loop syntax, first of all, we have declaration part. So, you see, this declaration part is basically used to declare variables which we can use, to progress the loop and all. Temporary variables, I can say. We can declare the variables as well as we can initialize them. Next, we'll have a condition. So this condition is similar to the while loop condition. You see, this loop will iterate till this condition fails. Okay, so the loop will continuously, that means the block associated to this for loop will continuously execute till this condition fails. So condition has to be a Boolean expression again. So as I told you people, Boolean expression means you'll find that uh, when this expression is evaluated, the result of that expression should be either true or false. That is a Boolean expression. The result of that expression should be either true or false when that expression is evaluated. Okay. Next we have incrementation and decrementation part. Yes. So when it comes to incrementation or decrementation part, you will find that basically it is used to increment the temporary variable value or decrement the temporary variable value. That is how we use it. Okay. Then you will have statements. Yes. So for the first iteration, this for loop, when it executes for the first iteration, I can say that the declaration part will execute. Followed by the declaration part, condition checking will be done. Followed by the declaration part, you'll find that condition checking will be done. So if true, if that condition is true, then block executes. Then what happens? Block executes. The block associated to that while loop will execute. That is how it works. Okay. So that is for the first iteration 1, I can say. So for the first time, declaration part executes, where a variable is declared, condition checking will be done, followed by if that condition is true, if that condition evaluates to true, block associated to this for loop will execute. So from the second iteration onwards, from iteration 2, you will find that, first of all, the incrementation part will execute, increment or decrementation part will execute. Followed by the incrementation or decrementation part, the condition checking will be done. And then if condition is true, the block executes. So that the declaration part will only execute once, just once. So the declaration part, it only executes once. Okay. Okay. So for the first iteration, the declaration part executes. From the next iteration onwards, it won't. From the second iteration, you see, first the incrementation or decrementation part will execute, followed by condition checking, and then block executes. So iteration 3, same. This will continue. So how many times, how many iterations will be there here? How many times this block executes till that condition fails? So once the condition fails, this loop will stop execution. That will be the last iteration when the condition fails. Okay. So let's try to work with an example. You see, in the last class, we were trying to print that hello world statement 10 times. So the same task we can achieve it using for loop. The same task we can achieve it using for loop. So here we can declare a for loop this way. So I value is initialized to 0. The condition is I less than 10, I plus plus. So in this block, we'll add a statement that is hello world. In this block, we'll add a statement hello world. So how it works, for the first time, I value is initialized to 0, and then the condition checking will be done. So what is the condition? I less than 10. So is this condition true? If it is true, then the block associated to this while loop will execute. It prints hello world. After that block executes, you see, again the incrementation part will execute. Okay, this part of the for loop will execute. I plus plus. So here, after that incrementation part, you see I plus plus means I value will be incremented by 1. So initially it is 0, it becomes 1. And after that I value is incremented by 1, the condition checking will be done. Now I value is 1. For the second iteration, I value is 1. So is 1 less than 10? Yes, 1 is less than 10. So the block associated to this for loop will execute. This way, you see, from second iteration onwards, first of all, that incrementation part, here in our example, I plus plus, I value will be incremented by 1 each time, and then the condition checking will be done, and if that condition is true, the block executes. So this will be repeated. So how many times this for loop iterates? You see, for I values 0 through 9, for I values 0 through 9, the block associated to this for loop will execute because the conditions will be true. I values will be less than 10 from 0 through 9. Once I value reaches 10, so this loop terminates because the condition fails. So if I value is 10, what happens? 10 is less than 10? No. 10 is not less than 10, right? The condition fails. So this loop will stop or will terminate here. That's it. So altogether, this loop iterates 10 times. 0 through 9 means you can count from 0 through 9, it will be 10. So this hello world statement will be printed 10 times, I can say. So let's run this code. Okay, so you get this output 10 times. So hope you people got it. So this is about a for loop. So anyone got any questions? What happens if you change to float? It doesn't matter. Okay, you can do it. Even float also works the same way. See, even 10.1 will be is greater than 10. Even 10.1 is greater than 10. Yeah. See, for example, if you change it to float, that means that value, if it is 10.5, still it works. There is no issue. Yeah. Now you know basics of mathematics. Same. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is. Okay. You can uh, just check this. You see, if you want the value to be 10.5, you see, you can do it. Not a problem. Okay. Even if you want this type to be float type, it doesn't make much difference. Numerics are same. The same rules apply for integers and float. There is no difference, right? The way you compare 10.5, 9.5 is less than 10, of course. Yes, it doesn't matter. Hope you people got it. Fine. And what is the other doubt? Is there any difference between for loop and while loop? Okay, so now there is another question. So is there any difference between for loop and while loop? Okay, so what do you people think? Can someone answer this question? What is the difference between for loop and while loop? Okay, okay, okay. You know what? In short, I can summarize this way. You will find that for loop, it looks more organized compared to the while loop. It looks more organized compared to the while loop. You see, in case of while loop, you can't add all the statements in a single line the way we are doing it here. You see, this for loop provides this provision to declare the variables, add the condition and incrementation of that variable in the same line. So it is more readable and organized compared to while loop. In case of while loop, we don't have such provision. So you have to declare the variable somewhere, the condition, you'll be writing it somewhere, the incrementation of that variable will be done somewhere. So they're all just scattered. So which makes the code little difficult to read, not much, but Yes, of course, if it is a big while loop, now you have to search where is this variable declared, what is the value of it, what is the condition, and later on in the while loop, where exactly this variable is incremented or decremented, what happens, that you need to check. That's it. Okay, if you choose, you can do it, not a problem. Okay, so sometimes, you will find that programming languages, they provide a choice for the developers. Yes, of course, you can. Okay, there is no problem. And I can say that this while loop, especially do while loop, they've been simply, uh, derived from that C, C++. Java has just got these things from the C, C++, I can say. So, because, at that time when Java was really new, so they were developers who were very much, uh, expertise in C, C++ coding. So you will find that yes, of course, they've been everything is derived. Even for loops you will find that they are similar, so they've been just derived from there. Okay, uh, you have a choice here now, you wish. Okay, yes. And people say that okay, the while loop is little faster than for loop, maybe, but I guess it's very minute difference might be there. Okay, but I don't really bother about it. Yes, I guess, it's very minute, no one bothers, to be frank. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. So hope you people got it. So for loop is more organized compared to the while loop. Yes. So any other questions? And as I told you people already in the beginning itself, whatever you can achieve with while loop, yes, the same things you can achieve using for loop also. Yeah. Yeah. So any other questions? Just a second, please. Just a second. Yeah, I'm sorry. So next, okay, I just want to check, just a minute, please. Give me. Hi, Dinesh and Samir. Hope you can hear me. So I guess you're new to the class today, right? So just listen to the class. I'll talk to you people after the session, okay? Dinesh and Samir. So can you people hear me? You can just say yes. Dinesh and Samir. Okay. I got response from others. Okay. Dinesh, hi, and Samir. Hope you can hear me, and others also hope you can hear me. Yeah. Okay, fine. So just Dinesh and Samir, I'll talk to you people after the class. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, who's this? Who joined with the name Dinesh? Could you please identify? Who joined with the name Dinesh?
Rajeshwari, hello.
Okay.
Mahesh.
Yeah, okay, fine, fine. Okay. Earlier you people might have used the same laptop to join some other GoToMeeting. So there you might have given that name. Once you give that name, email address and name, so it will use the same thing again. So you'll have edit option anyways. No problem. Okay, fine. So okay, let's start. Now this is about for loop. Okay, let's do one thing. We'll talk about break and continue statements. Break, continue. Break and continue. So break is basically used to terminate the loop. We can use break to terminate the loop, I can say. If you want to terminate the loop, you can use break. So for suppose, let's say we'll do this. If I is equal to 5, something like this, break. So earlier already we have used break in switch. Sorry. So if you people remember, we have used break and switch case, right? So in for loop also we can use break. Yes. Actually, if you only use break with if condition, it won't work. Okay. Only break with if condition. Only with if condition it won't work. Because this if in is in for loop, you can use this break. Break can be used for loops, looping constructs, and for switch. That's it. Okay. Now what happens? You see, this break, that clause, that statement, I can say break. You know, it instructs the control to terminate. That's it. Okay. So the program terminates here. So that means, let me do one thing. Instead of printing this hello world, we'll print I values. Okay. So that means what will be the output in this case? What do people think? It prints, yes, 0 through 4. So once I value reaches 5, the program terminates. Sorry, the loop terminates, not program. The loop terminates. You see, you got the values 0 through 4. That's it. Okay, this is break. It completely terminates the loop. Now, similarly, we have continue. So what continue does? Yes, what do people think? Any idea? It won't restart, but what happens is actually it will skip the current iteration, you can say. What it does, it will skip the current iteration. It skips the current iteration. So which iteration? Let's see. It instructs, that means if it skips the current iteration, what does that mean? If there are any statements in that block, after that continue statement will not execute for that particular iteration only. For example, I'll use continue here. So you see, when this condition is true, when I value is 5, what happens? This continue statement will execute. So which instructs the control to skip the current iteration. That means from this continue statement, from this line 8, straight away the control will go to the incrementation part. From that means the next iteration. It will go to the next iteration. That's it. So if there are any statements in this block, okay, if there are any statements after the continue statement in this block, they won't execute for this current iteration. Okay. So once again, I'm repeating. You see, when that continue statement executes, what happens? It instructs the control to skip the current iteration. That means if there are any statements in this block after the continue statement, for this iteration, they will not execute. Okay. So straight away the control will go to the next iteration. That means I value will be incremented by 1 again. That means I value becomes 6, and it will continue like that. Yes. That means, so what will be the output in this case? Can you people tell me? So what will be the output here? So it prints 0 through 9 except 4, except 5, I'm sorry, yeah. Except 5, it prints values 0 through 4. You see, 5 will be missing. So now let's move on. We'll talk about nested loops. So is this clear for you people? Break and continue. So no doubts, right? Okay, fine. So, okay, there is a question, I guess. Let me just read it. So in the previous example of break, when the compiler encounters break statement, it comes out of if then for loop. You see, not compiler. Your program is not executed by the compiler. The instructions which you write, they're executed by the JVM. So JVM, what it does here, it will quit this break statement. As I told you people, the break is not for if, it is for for. It is for, not for break, for if. If you individually use, you know, break in if condition, it will definitely not work. You can try that. Okay, you'll get this error. What it says, break cannot be used outside of a loop or a switch. Okay, so it terminates that for loop. Within the for loop, you have if condition. So if for loop terminates, there is no scope for if condition to execute any further. Yeah, completely that loop terminates. That's it. Okay, hope you got it, Sagar. So now let's move on. We'll talk about nested loops. We'll talk about nested loops. So nested loops means a loop inside a loop, I can say. A loop inside a loop. That is a nested loop. Yes. Let's try to work with this nested loops. For suppose, let's say I'll do this. Now first we have a loop here in line number 6, and within this loop, within this loop, you see inside that loop we have another for loop now. Yes. Okay. For inside for, yeah, that is what we are saying. Yes, Srinivas, that is what we are looking at now. So now generally this for loop which you have here in line 6, that is the outer loop, I can say. So how many times it iterates? Basically it executes 5 times. It iterates 5 times. Sorry, it will iterate 5 times. What about this nested loop, that inner loop? That means the loop which is inside that for loop. How many times it iterates? Overall iterations. What will be the number of iterations? Yes, 15. That's right. Yes, exactly. So you see, I can say that generally, if this for loop, if it is an independent loop, that means if it is not inside any other loop, it iterates 3 times. It will iterate 3 times. It iterates 3 times. But here you will find that it is inside another loop. Okay, so that means for each iteration of this outer loop, this inner loop iterates 3 times. So for each iteration of outer loop, the inner loop iterates 3 times. That means 5 into 3, 15 times. Okay. So let me just print this j values, and here I'll add this statement. So now I want you people to trace the output and tell me. So what will be the output? Can you people trace the output? Trace the output and tell me the answer. Yes. So it prints 0, 1, 2, 5 times. It prints 0, 1, 2, 5 times. Yeah. So how it works, let me explain it. Okay, first of all, let me run this code. You see, it prints 0, 1, 2, 5 times. Yes, that's right. So first of all, you see, I value 0. First of all, I value 0. It is initialized to 0. The condition checking will be done. Is I less than 5? That means is 0 less than 5? Yes, of course. So the control enters into this loop. That is what I'm explaining, Nishita. So now what happens, you see, when I value 0, the condition checking will be done. The condition is true. So the control comes into this for loop. Into that inner loop, I can say. Now here, you see, we have this variable in this for loop, inner loop, j, which is initialized to 0. And j is less than 3. This is the condition. So is j less than 3? Yes, j is less than 3. So condition is true. So the control enters into the block and it prints 0. First of all, it prints 0. So after printing 0, what happens? There are no more statements in this block, in this block. So j value will be initialized by 1. So j value is initialized by 1 and then the condition checking will be done. Is j less than 3? Yes, of course. So condition is true. Again, the control enters into this loop, inner loop, and it prints j value. So you see, we are using print method here. So print method, what it does is, after printing that value, it will not move the cursor to the, next line. Okay, the cursor remains in the same line after printing the value. That is what the print method does. So you see, this inner loop, it iterates for j values 0 through 2. Once j value reaches 3, the condition fails, right? Yeah, that means inner loop iterates 3 times. So each time it prints j value, that will be 0, 1, 2. That's it. After this inner loop iterates 3 times, you see the condition fails. So the control comes out of this inner loop, and this statement here in line number 11 will execute. This statement is in outer loop, which will move the cursor to the next line. Just we are moving the cursor to the next line. So after this line number 11 executes, after that statement executes, there are no more statements to execute in this loop. There are no more statements to execute in this loop. So what happens now? I value will be incremented by 1. So I value becomes 1. So is 1 less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. 1 is less than 5. So the condition is true. Again, the control enters into the loop. Again, you see this inner loop, it starts execution freshly. It iterates 3 times. It prints j values 0, 1, 2 again. So this process will repeat. So for each iteration of outer loop, inner loop iterates 3 times. So that means it will be 5 into 3, 15 times. Outer loop iterates for 5 times, right? For I values 0 through 4. Yes. Okay. Yes, this is how it works. Hope you people got it. And Nishita, hope you got it. So altogether, inner loop iterates 15 times, outer loop 5 times. So for each iteration of outer loop, inner loop iterates 3 times. Yeah. So any questions in this regard? Okay. So hope everyone got it, right? Yeah. Yeah, that is what I've explained it, Nishita. So you see, first of all, you need to understand how many times this for loop iterates. outer loop 5 times. Inside the for loop, you see you have this code. Whatever we have, this is the code which you have. So for I value 0, what happens? This block executes. Whatever the code you have in this block will execute. So you see this for loop, how many times it iterates? 3 times. When I value 0, this for loop, it iterates 3 times. So for j value 0, for j value 1, j value 2. After that, once j value reaches 3, this for loop inner loop terminates. So for I value 0, how many times the inner loop iterates? 3 times. And it prints 0, 1, 2. First of all, is this clear, Nishita? When I value 0. And the same process repeats for I value 1. So when you see after this loop iterates, inner loop iterates 3 times, you see the control comes out of the loop and this line number 11 will execute, which will prompt the cursor to move to the next line. The println will move the cursor to the next line. Yes. So after that, you see there are no more statements to execute in this block. So I plus plus this incrementation part will execute, which increments I value by 1. So I value becomes 1. The condition checking will be done. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. So again, the condition enters into the, sorry, the control enters into the loop. And this for loop, again, it will freshly start execution. So it iterates again 3 times. The same thing happens for I value 0, for j value 0, j value 1 and j value 2. Yes. So again, it iterates 3 times. So 3 plus 3, 6 times when I value is 1. And this will continue for I value 2, I value 3, I value 4. That's it. Okay, fine. So this is how, this inner loop works. Okay. Now, let me do this. All of you just check this. If I value equal to 2, I'll add a break statement here. Yes. I'll add a break statement. So this time what will be the output? Okay. That means 0, 1, 2 will be printed how many times? If it is 5 times, Srinivas, it with the same answer as we did, as we got earlier, right? There won't be any difference. No, 5 times is same again, right? As previous program itself. So, okay, okay, 0, 1 to 4 times. So what about others? Okay, actually it prints 0 1 2. It prints 0 1 2 4 times. You know what happens? So when I values 2, this break statement will execute, right? So now most of you people will have a question here. So that break statement, so will it break the inner loop or outer loop? The break statement, will it break the inner loop or outer loop? So that break statement, actually it is inside the inner loop, right? So you will find that the break statement is actually inside the inner loop. So it will break the inner loop, not the outer loop. Yes, it breaks the inner loop, not the outer loop. Yes. Okay, that is what happens. It will break the inner loop. So that means only when I values 2, that inner loop breaks. So for all other values of I, the inner loop iterates normally. Okay. So that means for I value 0, 1, 3 and 4, inner loop executes normally and it prints 0, 1, 2. But when I value reaches 2, inner loop breaks. So it won't print anything. Okay. Yeah. No, no. Inner loop will completely break only for I value 2. For all other iterations, the inner loop iterates normally. Okay. So there won't be any difference in the output. Output means it prints 0, 1, 2. But when I values 2, that inner loop will not iterate. You see, there is a space in between when I values 2. So the first iteration I value 0, right? So it iterates normally. Inner loop iterates normally. So the condition fails. So J value will be printed as 0, 1, 2. The J values will be printed 0, 1, 2. That's it. When I values 1, again for loop iterates normally without any issues. The condition fails. I values 1. When I values 2, for the third iteration, you see what happens immediately, this break statement will execute. So which terminates the inner loop, only inner loop. So when this break statement executes, what happens straight away from this break statement, the control will come to this line number 14, which will simply move the cursor to the next line. So that is the reason why we got a blank space created over there. So after line number 14 executes, now there are no more statements in this main loop, outer loop. So I plus plus, this incrementation part will execute. That is how it works. Okay. So hope you people got it. Fine. So if it is clear, let's move on. Now I have a question for you people. My question is, I want to break the outer loop. So what to do? I want to break the outer loop. Okay, this answer is expected. So shift that break statement out to the outer loop. Okay, okay, fine. But you know what? Here, I want that break statement to be in that inner loop itself, but it should break the outer loop. Okay, hope you people got it. I don't want to move that break statement. I want it there itself. So we have a facility. What you can do is you can just label the outer loop here. You see this outer is a label. We can use the concept of labels. Generally, when we talk about a label, you'll have a label name. Label name can be anything, it is user defined, followed by colon. Label name followed by, you'll have a colon. So here also I did the same. Now you see before this for loop, I've just used this label. That means this label now outer, it refers to that for loop, I can say. This label outer, it refers to that for loop. Okay. So what is the purpose of label? It is first of all used to mark a statement. We use it to mark a statement. Okay. Later on, you can use that label to refer to that statement as well. So whatever the statements you're marking, you can just refer to them. You see, I can do this break outer. So that outer label, that label outer, it refers to the outer loop, right? You can do this break outer. So this time, what happens? That outer loop will be terminated. The outer loop will be terminated. That is what happens. So hope you people got it. Now, if that outer loop terminates, then what will be the output if I run this code? So what will be the output this time? So 0, 1, 2, how many times it will be printed? Two times. Yes, that's right. So 0, 1, 2 will be printed only twice. 0, 1, 2 will be just printed twice. That's it. Okay, that is how it works. Because you see, this break statement now, it instructs the outer loop to terminate. It instructs the outer loop to terminate. Okay, it instructs the outer loop to terminate. That's it. So when the outer loop terminates, there is no scope for the inner loop to execute, right? So the outer loop, if it terminates, there is no scope for the inner loop to execute. That's it. So it prints 0, 1, 2 twice. So hope this is clear for everyone. So anyone got any questions or issues in this regard, please let me know. Okay, there is a question. So is there any option to come out of all the loops with break statement without labels? Okay, I'm sorry. Is there any option to come out of all for loops with break statement without labels? Yes, you can do it. So now you can use break statements in the appropriate loops. If you want to break the outer loop, place the break statement in the outer loop. If you want to break the inner loop, place the break statement in the inner loop. That is the option. That is the answer which you people have already suggested. So what you see, we have one option. I wanted to, that is common, you people know that. But I wanted to show you people this option, generally, which you people may not be aware. Yes. Okay. That is what you can do. Place the break statement in the appropriate loops. So if you want to break the inner loop, add the break statement to inner loop. If you want to break the outer loop, add the break statement in the outer loop. But this condition, it is not going to affect in any ways. If you add the condition for I, it doesn't mean that it will break the outer loop. And if you add the condition for j, it doesn't mean that it will break the inner loop. Okay, so condition has got nothing to do. Yes. Sometimes people think that way. So I saw people answering that way also. Okay, instead of right, you see, if I add the condition I equal to 2, okay, it breaks outer loop. So if you use j, then it terminates the inner loop. Yes, but not at once. You see how the program executes sequentially. The instructions, they're not executed all at once. The instructions are executed one after the other. Okay, so if you want to terminate complete loop, okay, so then you see you have to break the outer loop. So what you have to do is now, okay, if you want to break the inner loop, add the break condition in the inner loop. Otherwise, you add this condition now in the outer loop without labels, you're saying. Okay, without labels. You have to do this. At any given point of time, only one break statement will execute. If you have 10 break statements, they won't execute at once. Or any other statement at any given point of time here, now in this method, only one statement will execute, one after the other. Yes, hope you got it, Srinivas. Next, okay, I'll come to Sagar question. If we want to label, we can do it for every other statement or any exceptions. No, you can label any statement. You can label any statement. There is another question from Sanket. Okay, so if everything terminates, how we are getting some output? You see, before the program terminates, you see some instructions are executed already, right? So that output is not rendered at the end of the program execution. Output is not rendered at the end of the program execution. Okay. So if you have two SOP statements, when this SOP statement executes, you see before that break statement itself, you have this SOP statement. First of all, it will execute. Then only it comes to that break statement. Okay. That is how it works. Again, the same answer. So what happens here? The statements will execute one after the other. If there is a break, it doesn't mean that your control will only concentrate on the break statement, and if it terminates, that's it. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So before that break statement is executed, If there are any SOP statements, system.out.println statements, they execute, they will print output, of course, whatever it is, before the loop terminates. Okay. So hope you got it, Sankeet. That is how it works. So any other questions? Anyone got any questions? Okay, fine. So now let's move on. Let me show you people some exercises to work with, at least a couple of exercises. Just a minute. Okay, I'll show you people a question now. Just a minute. So just check this question, all of you. Okay. Yeah, the answer is 0, sorry, yeah, 0 to 4. The answer is 0 to 4. That is the answer. So how it is 0 to 4? Let's see. You see, initially I value is 0, right? Can we do this? Can we declare this variable outside of the for loop? Yes, you can do it. Okay, that's not at all a problem. This loop can be declared outside as well. This way, it is very much possible. Now, you see the condition is I less than 4. I value 0 initially, it is less than 4 of course. So the condition is satisfied. The control will go into the loop, yes, and it prints I value 0, right? I value is printed as 0. And after that, the statement incrementation part will execute. I plus equal to 2. I plus equal to 2 means it is actually I equal to I plus 2. That means I value will be incremented by 2. It indicates that I value will be incremented by 2. That is what it means. I value will be incremented by 2. So that means initially I value 0, sorry, I value 0, it becomes 2 after that incrementation part. Is 0 less than 2? Yes. 0, sorry, not 0, 2. I value is 2 now. Is 2 less than 4? Yes, of course, 2 is less than 4. The condition is satisfied. The control enters into the loop and it prints I value is 2. Okay, I value will be printed as 2. After that, again, incrementation part will execute. I'm sorry. Incrementation part will execute. So I plus equal to 2. That means again I value is incremented by 2. What is I value now? 2. If it is incremented by 2, it becomes 4. Right? So once I value reaches 4, here this condition I less than 4 will fail because I value is 4. Is 4 less than 4? No. So this condition fails. The control comes out of this for loop. It straight away goes to this lines 14. And what is I value now? 4. So it prints 4. So first that loop prints 0, 2. And this line number 14, that statement prints 4. That's it. So is it clear for everyone? So is it clear for everyone? So anyone got any issues? Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So, I plus equal to 2, it increments I value by 2. Similarly, you'll find that you can use such expressions I plus equal to 4. That means whenever the statement executes, I value will be incremented by 4 and that value will be assigned to that variable I. I value equal to 6. Even this is possible. I plus equal to 6. That means each time I value will be incremented by 6. So this kind of statements you'll see it. Okay, it's fine. So that is how you can increment a value by 1, by 2, by 4, by 6 and so on like that. Okay, by 3 also, by 4 also, by 5 also. It works. Okay, so our long session, I'm sorry, I'm going to start it from tomorrow onwards. Please excuse me for today. So I will stop it here today, but from tomorrow onwards, we will definitely 200% will have 2.5 hour sessions. Okay, yeah. So I thought of starting from today, but due to some reason I can't start 2.5 hours from today. So from tomorrow, our class timing will be from 7 p.m. Indian time to 9:30 p.m. Indian time. Okay. Yes, this will be your class timings. Fine. So Sunday we'll have a break. Saturday also you'll have a session. Yes. Okay. So this is our class schedule tomorrow. So I'll stop it here today. Yes. So anyone got any questions? So whatever we have discussed today from this session today, any questions? Let me know. Okay, good. So let's meet tomorrow then. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all. Bye bye.